Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I've got a video covering the two Crimson Steel tanks that are available in the Triple Threat sales, which is where they're available for free XP, gold, or silver. It's your choice on how you get them. And that is the Hydra IS-6 and the Minotaur KV-5. Now, if you do like the video, as always, don't forget to like and subscribe down below, as it really does help out the channel. And yes, these triple threat sales are really good. I do like the way that they do these, because it gives you the option to either pick to be able to buy them for silver, free XP, or gold, which is always very nice, because if you have the gold knocking around, you could just go buy them, although they are exceptionally expensive for gold for tier 8 premiums, these two vehicles. Or you could get 50 million silver for them, which is a naturally occurring currency in the game that you can just go and grind with silver boosters and premium tanks that you'll have earned throughout all the seasons, because they do throw them at you. Or free XP, which means that you can create your own discount, because as you can see, I've got 94,000 free XP from just playing, and like I did on the free-to-play account, I got T41E1 for free without having to convert, just because I'll naturally let it build up. And that means that you can build your own discount and basically get the tank cheaper than if you were to just buy it for gold, which is always lovely. And as you can see, the Hydra is available for 13,300 gold, 50 million silver, or 259,000 free XP. The Minotaur is 13,000 gold, 50 million silver, or 253,000 free XP. We're going to start off with the Hydra IS-6, which is an IS-6 with better armour and the Defender gun, in lieu of losing the preferential matchmaking. Now, for me, personally, this is a better version of the IS-6, and the preferential matchmaking be damned, as opposed to the Minotaur, where I'd rather just play the KV-5 with preferential matchmaking. The tank, armor-wise, is pretty nice. It works up until you start facing the higher pen tier 9 standard rounds, and then premium rounds go straight through it every time from the tier 9s. But if you're top tier, this thing slays, because the armor is really, really good. It hits like a truck, and it's fairly mobile as well for a tier 8 heavy tank at 38 kilometers an hour. The only real downside is the fact that the gun is exceptionally derpy, just like it is on the Defender, which is always a frustration for the tank. But it is a pretty damn solid heavy tank at tier 8 for the Soviets, and it makes a lot of silver, which is always juicy. So what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment? Well, in terms of the crew, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Track Mechanics, Steady Aim, Snapshot with Run and Gun, and Deadeye. Now, I run Deadeye for the memes to have that 6% increased chance of doing module damage. Would I recommend that for the average player? Probably not. You'd probably want to run Rapid Aim or Clutch Braking to make the track traverse or the turret traverse better. It's down to you and how you want to play the vehicle in general. You are going to want to run all 3 gun perks, because the gun is derpy. It's very derpy. You want to help it out as much as humanly possible. And then all these perks you're going to run on every tank in the game, and I run Track Mechanic because we are a brawly heavy tank, so it's nice to be able to get the tracks back on quicker if we've already burnt the repair kit. And then in terms of the equipment, I run the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, Optics. Optics be able to get that 448 meters of view range, so that I can at least spot for myself in this vehicle, because it is exceptionally blind. It is a Soviet heavy tank that generally are blind, and 448 is pretty poor in terms of view range, but it can help you at least try to spot up to the view range cap at 445. The Gun Stabilizer to make the accuracy during rotation and movement as good as humanly possible, so that aim circle doesn't bloom out that much at all, and it still does bloom out a lot because it's a Soviet heavy and it's this Defender gun. It's very derpy, so you really want to help it out with that Gun Stabilizer if you can, with the Advanced Loader to get the best out of the DPM. In terms of the modules, that is where the module layout is for the vehicle. It's got that engine block right there. It's a Soviet heavy, even though it's got an internal fire chance of 15%. It does like getting set on fire, again, because it's a Soviet heavy, they generally do. And that's where the ammo racks sit on the Hydra IS-6, with the crew right there in the tank. In terms of the armor, like I say, it is stronger than the IS-6 by a little bit, and that means that you do actually get a surprising amount of ricochets off of this upper plate and the turret front. Be careful of the cupolas on top, because they can be penned. But like I say, the thing with this vehicle is that the armor is pretty nice against tier 8s and below, but as soon as you go against tier 9s and 10s, they do start to go through you rather easily, which can be a bit frustrating, and especially since you're not like some of the other Soviet tanks where you try to side scrape it, you can have a good time. This vehicle does struggle with side scraping because that little side cheek there will end up getting overexposed too much and getting easily penned, which it can be super frustrating, but you're just a mobile platform for this gun, which really does slap, and it is pretty nice for that. So with it, in terms of the statistics for this vehicle, as you can see, we've got a 38 km/h top speed with a 14 km/h reverse speed. 700 horsepower engine is 13.54 horsepower per ton ratio, which means we are a little bit sluggish to get there to that top speed, but we do end up getting there eventually. 26 degrees on the hull rotation speed is a bit slow, which is where you might want to run clutch braking instead. With 2.12, 1.38 and 1.1 on firm. The terrain resistances aren't too good on this vehicle, which again hold it back a little bit in terms of its top speed. You've got 448 meters of view range, which like I say is not very good. You are pretty blind in this Soviet heavy tank. With a 28.24 degrees a second turret rotation speed, which is quicker than the hull, and we've not really helped that, so again you could get that up to 30 degrees a second quite easily with rapid aim if you feel like the turret traverse is just that little bit too slow. We've got 0.78 accuracy during rotation, which is pretty decent for this kind of gun actually, to be fair, and that's because we've helped it out so much with snapshot with the gun stabilizer to get it down to that level, with a 2.34 accuracy during movement, which isn't very good, and naturally means that the aim circle does bloom out quite a bit when you are moving the tank. You've got a 3.13 second aim time, which means that it does take a wee while for this gun to get itself aimed in, and you will feel that aim time. It's really not very good, with a 0.38 accuracy at 100 meters, which means this gun is so derpy. It is very derpy. It does like missing shots, so don't be surprised when a lot of your shots hit the floor. With 6 degrees of gun depression, it can be a little bit awkward on a ridgeline. It's not poor gun depression, but it's just not good gun depression, which means ridgelines can be a bit of a pain for you in this tank, just like a lot of the other Soviet tanks, to be fair. 10.87 second reload is 2.5k DPM, well, 2.4k DPM, which is meh, with 225 penetration on the standard AP, 265 penetration on the premium APCR, and 68 penetration on the HE rounds. 440 alpha on that standard and 530 on the HE is very, very nice for the tier. It really does slap quite hard. With 1,000 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP, I mean, that's bang average in terms of that velocity on the AP, which is very nice for this kind of 122mm gun, because they're usually a little bit slower than that. With 1,250 meters a second shell velocity on that premium APCR, which is absolutely lovely. When you fire the APCR, again, the gun does feel that little bit different just because of the velocity. I mean, you don't have to give too much lead at distance to be able to hit the target. And then you've got that 175% silver bonus on this Crimson Steel Hydra IS-6 because it does make very, very good silver. That is the ploy of these vehicles. But yeah, on the whole, the Hydra IS-6 is a pretty nice tank. I think there's a lot out there that's probably better, but it does make good silver. It can hold its own quite well, and you can have some good fun with it. It's just that when you get into those tier 9, 10 lobbies where there's a lot of higher paying guns, they do start to go through you quite easily. And yeah, they go through the gun mantlet quite a bit as well, which can be pure pain for the Hydra IS-6. But when you do get that top tier game, you really do feel how nice this tank can be in those regards compared to some of the other vehicles. So what I'm going to do now is send you into the replays where you can watch this tank in action, see how it handles, and just see if it's a bit of you or not. So as always, everybody, I'll see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the Hydra IS-6, and this first game we are in a pretty nice matchup on Erlenberg. And on Erlenberg, in this kind of matchup, what I'm going to do is try and push across the river because it is an encounter battle, get to position at C8, C9, and hopefully brawl on that little corner because that will be a great place for me in my Hydra IS-6. As I can kind of go hull down on some of the ridge lines there, we're even with 6 degrees of gun depression, and if I need to push aggressively around that corner, I can. If enough people come with me, I might have some support to stop them just yellowing around the corner as well, which would be pretty nice. Like I say, the mobility on this tank isn't too bad. It is a little bit sluggish to get there, but you do end up hitting the 38. You generally go between 35 to 38 when you're travelling across the open. And it just means that you are a more mobile version of a Soviet tank for this 122mm BL-13 gun. Because, like I say, it is the exact same gun that's on the Defender, but generally it just performs that little bit nicer for this tank than it did on the Defender. But you do lose that little bit of armor extra that the Defender has compared to the Hydra IS-6, but then you also gain that little bit extra mobility that this vehicle has, because the Defender is pretty poor in terms of its mobility. So as you can see, we're starting to spot quite a few people. We see the VK3002D, get the shot aimed in as much as possible, and we have the whole of the upper plate, lower plate, and turret in that aim circle, and the shot hit the side of the turret, so it ricocheted. Defender / Hydra gun in action. BL-13 in action. It derps all the time. We do manage to get a shot into the T-71 DA, though, that was going across the open in front of us, and we ended up getting him shut down in the end. We get a shot into the T-34-3. The STA-2 managed to get a cheeky shot into our side as we came over the ridgeline there a little bit too aggressively. And there is a lot of people here, and there's just me. So I've got to be careful about being too aggressive. And to be honest, at this point, I'm expecting that I might get about 2k damage out of this game, but eventually their team is just going to YOLO, and it's going to be a painful time for me. So I've got to try and make these shots count if I can. So I'm just looking for the shot into the cupola of the IS. Couldn't quite find it. I could also just shoot him straight to the turret but from the position he was in, the cupola was the easiest shot. We did manage to get a shot into the Oni's cupola, though, but he has a derp gun, so he didn't really have to aim at where he was going to shoot me. He just slammed a shot straight in. The Black Prince has come around the corner, and that Black Prince is going to really struggle to pen us, even with 200 pen, and then 244 on his premium, I believe it is, and that premium is going to bounce a good amount of shots unless he hits my lower plate. So the Black Prince has thought, aha, I shall go in. It's not working out for him, and we shut him down because we hit him for 402, which we can naturally kill him for that because we've got 440 alpha. Mr. Tiger 1's coming in now, or should I say Miss Tiger 1? Miss Queen, look. It's Mrs. Tiger 1. Mrs. Tiger 1 has come in after us, and, well, they saw what happened to the Black Prince and they still came in anyway. We put a shot through the side of the Tiger as it got its destructible cover destroyed by the artillery. We can just see the front of the upper plate around the rock, but again, I don't trust this gun, so I was making sure it was aimed in as possible. We see the T-34-3 coming up on our right. We make sure we angle up for it, and we actually managed to bounce it. Same as we bounced the Tiger. Aiming for that upper section underneath the turret, because that's where the ammo rack is on the Tiger, but sadly the shot went low, and, well, I say sadly, not really a sadly, because we penned it, didn't we, but, you know, we were trying to hopefully ammo rack it. We do get the shot in to finish off the Tiger, though, and now we're being pushed by the 121, who, with 250 heat pen, he can go through my lower plate, but again, he's going to struggle with anywhere else. We had the lower plate in the sight, and sadly, it hits the floor. Derpy gun does derpy gun things. We pull over, so we've got a better shot at his lower plate this time, putting it in for 394. Now he's just over a 50-50 in terms of, well, under 50-50 to actually kill him in one shot. So we're hoping that the roll goes nicely, which it doesn't. 438, leaving him on 5 hit points and a dream. So hopefully we'll get rid of this 112 next shot. But in fact, the IS ends up shutting him down. And speaking of ISs, we get a shot into the side of their IS, who is backing up. Hopefully get the reload in time to finish him off, which we do, securing our 3rd kill of this game. 794 assistance, 5.3k damage, and it's now time to put the pressure up on the STA-2 and on these T-34-3 and the rest of their team. So it's like, hello, Mr. T-34-3. Oh, BL-13. Did we really have to hit the floor? That was mostly aimed on that T-34-3 there, and it still hit the floor anyway. Like I say, I don't trust this gun whatsoever. It is a very derpy gun, which can be very frustrating to use, just like it is on the Defender. But we're just going to keep whittling away the enemy team now, as there's not many of them left. We end up shutting down the T-34-3, looking for maybe the kill on the Crusader SP, but he gets shut down by the M12. RBRT the shot into the T-43, secure our 5th kill of this game with 5.9k damage. STA-2 in front of us, the whatever that was, BZ-58, ricocheted off our upper plate as we came round. So we just got one tank on the enemy team left, and we're just hoping for that top gun. I would like that top gun very, very much. So we're going to get some elevation here to see if we can get the shot on this STA-2. But I might have actually just been better driving around the corner. I might have had a shot on him there easier, but hey-ho. Finished the game with a pretty good total there for a Hydra IS-6, showing you what it can do, especially when you're facing those when you're in those really nice top tier games. 5 kills, 6k damage, 1100 assistance, ace tanker, high caliber, the steel wall, 2.3k base XP. A pretty damn nice game there for the vehicle. And lastly, when it's top tier, and you see tier 8s, 7s and 6s, the armour on this tank is glorious. It bounces a lot. And that is the strength of the vehicle, is being that top tier, because it really slaps as long as the gun lets you hit, because that replay also showed the derpiness of this gun and how it just decides, ha, lol, no, I'm not letting you hit things. But the armour does work out quite nicely. But now we're into the second replay. In the second replay, we are bottom tier. This is a tier 10 game, and we're on Swamp. And on Swamp, what I want to try and do is go to the position at C67, because if people get spotted crossing the 0 line, hopefully I can get some free shots into them before they get up towards the hill area. It is a very good position to take early on, to be able to just get those early game shots. Problem is, we are a little bit slow in the Hydra. It's definitely a better position for medium tanks and fast tank destroyers and light tanks, because they can get there much earlier, spot the cross much easier, and then get better shots off. So the machine does end up getting spotted on the cross by the medium tank that was at B7. He would have got across there without me being able to get a shot into him if it wasn't for that Ariete. But we got a shot into him for 438. But the tanks that are getting spotted on top of the hill, the G-Saw, the General, the Batchat, with the machine going to join them, made me go, okay, you know what, I'm not going to go down to the position at C7, because I'm going to be exceptionally vulnerable to those guys on the hill if I go there. So instead, I'm going to take up a position around this hill area here, because if they overexpose themselves trying to shoot my allies as they go up this hill, I should be able to get some easy shots into them. So we can see the Mutts right there as he is pushing aggressively to try and get a shot. And then a machine. So we put a shot through the side of the machine, which we can overmatch quite easily. So it doesn't matter really where we hit the machine in the side. We are going to pen it because it's only got 30mm of side armour. And we have a 122mm gun. With the machine just being extra aggressive, we are putting shots in where we can, because it'd be great to get rid of that tier 10 mercenary heavy tank. And he gets shut down by the Highlander. The Mutts was up in the open, so we put a shot into the Mutts there, put him down to a one-shot. And as long as these guys keep pushing aggressively to try and shoot my Highlander and friend, we should be able to get them. The Mutts pokes out just in time for me to get the reload there, so we end up finishing off the tier 8 German medium tank there, waiting for our reload. Batchat's tracked in front of us. Great times. Just as we reload, he pulls back. Sod's law on the timing, that is. That happens all the time. You go, yes, I'm going to shoot it. Oh, it pulled back. Okay, game. Good timing there, bro. One of those. So, a tree caught my attention. I saw a tree go down on my right-hand side, and I went, is there a tank there? Yes, there was a Tiger 2. He knocked down a tree as he came down the hill, and that just caught my attention to go try and see if I could see what it was. And in fact, it was the Tiger 2. So we get 2 shots into him. We also got the assistance damage on that guy, putting us up to 2.8k damage with the 892 assistance. We managed to ricochet whatever that was that shot us from the hill. And we're up to 1,010 blocked. And I'm just looking on the hill going, whereabouts was that? Because I'm thinking about possibly blind firing it, like I said yesterday in the video. Especially the Demolisher section, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, as it's always worth having a blind fire every now and then, especially if you think there's somewhere knocking around over there, because you might be able to get a cheeky shot into them and dissuade them from doing things. They might move off from the position they have, who knows. So we see the tanks that are pushing up at DE 7 and 8, and so we're going to go push into those guys, because I'm pretty sure the Valor should get finished off. There's just the Valor now at a BZ 176, sorry, against the 3 tanks on our team. We go for the shot into the tracks, which tracks him, and he repaired it and got instantly tracks blown off again by the Type 5 Heavy, so I'm getting none of this assistance damage. We make sure the shot's fully aimed and put the shot straight through the lower plate of that BZ 176 there, as we have enough pen with 225 to go through that. I see the Generals come round behind us, and same as the Batchat. I'm just looking to see if I can get a shot, but they are below the ridgeline for me, and I don't really fancy poking out on that position if in case they've got TDs, which they always do, across the ridge at H67. So instead, we see the HMH ISU 130, and so we're going to go try and get that guy. Sadly, our first shot derped into the floor, but we're going to go find a better angle to get the shot into that Soviet Tier 8 tank destroyer, put the shot in for 471, and he gets finished off by the Type 5 Heavy. Valor is the last thing alive on the hill, just looking to see if I can get a shot at that guy. I can't. So you know what? I feel like I'm going to make the play that is the push, that is what you always want to try and do from this position on our attacking end, and that is push towards the ledge at F8. But we get spotted early, so I drop as low as possible into this dip, making it awkward for the enemy team to get shots into me. The Hurry gets an awkward shot into our side. He hit an awkward angle there on our side, which tractors only. We spot the Conway, and I'm really hoping this Conway takes some big hits. And there we go, 936. We get a fair bit of spotting there on that Conway. And we're now pushed to the ledge that is the position I want to be in. Because from here, I should hopefully spot what is, I think, a Tyran up on that position at H6. Because he did shoot and kill someone behind me from that sort of area. So we're going to poke up, see if we can spot them, and there we go. There's the Tyran. We put a shot through the hull of the Tyran. He takes a big hit for 1,074. That must have been our Tyran rolling for that. Wow. Okay, sure. And we get a whole whack of assistance for that. We're up to 4.5k damage with 2.5k assistance. So we're at 7k combined, which is a very, very good game for a tier 8 premium and a tier 8 tank in general in a tier 10 matchup. And there's only those two tanks left. There's the Hydra, sorry, the Hori 1, sorry, in our Hydra. We'll get there in the end. And the Tyran. And hopefully we might be able to pick up the kill on the Tyran and get an extra shot or two into that Hori. But this is where, obviously, being a heavy tank, having that 38 kilometers an hour top speed, and being a bit sluggish in terms of that top speed as well, we're going to suffer. Because we're going to try our best to get there. But there's a likelihood with my team closing in and the faster tanks trying to get there to get damage, we might not quite make it. So the Ariete is going in on the Hori. The Hori's in a position I can just about shoot him. So we're just aiming the shot up. And I thought he was going to pull forwards. But he just went, oh, you know what, I'm going to pull back. And so we missed the shot on the Hori. He gets finished off by the STRV 103B. And we finish the game with the victory. Top of the team, 3 kills, 4.5k damage, 2.6k assistance, good amount of silver, 250k, ace tanker with the 1974 base XP. Great game for the Hydra IS-6 there in a really nice matchup, and it is just a really damn solid tank. So now we're on to the Minotaur KV-5, and this is a tank that I'm not a big fan of. I don't particularly enjoy the Minotaur KV-5, and that's because I like the standard KV-5, and I feel like for all the little differences this tank has, I'd just rather be in the KV-5 with preferential matchmaking, because when you're top tier, it can be nice, again, but generally, the KV-5 is nice when it's top tier, and I feel like I have more of an impact with the KV-5 in the top tier game than I do with this tank. And then this tank has the added disadvantage of having to see tier 9s and 10s, and see tier 10s as well, which is the pain. Which means that, yeah, the tier 10s just absolutely trash your armour. Side scraping is very good. But, yeah, the droids on the front make it pure pain. The cupola on top is very easy for them to pen. Premium rounds, especially from tier 9s and 10s, go straight through the turret front. You can get some really awkward bounces and just ricochets, which can be very, very nice for the Minotaur KV-5. But, yeah, on the whole, it's just a tank that I don't really recommend. I don't think it's that great. Because it's a KV-5 that they've basically upped the armour a fair bit on certain areas, like the droids and the turret front, and then they've given it the gun from the KV-4. And the gun from the KV-4 is delightful. It is a great 107mm gun, but to lose the pref matchmaking is a big thing for this vehicle. So, what do I run in terms of a crew and equipment? Well, in terms of the crew, I run Born Leader, Rapid Reload, Sixth Sense, Situational Awareness, Trap Mechanics, Steady Aim, Run and Gun, Snapshot with Rapid Aim. Rapid Aim to make that turret traverse better, because the turret traverse is slow on this vehicle, so it's nice to have. I might think about running clutch braking, because this tank does turn so slowly. That might be something that is nice to have. All 3 gun perks to make sure that this gun is as good as humanly possible, so that it doesn't derp out too much, and it's something that you like to look at, because the gun is the key factor of this tank. With Trap Mechanic to make the tracks get back on quicker, so that I don't get caught out if I've already burnt my repair kit. And then these 5 perks you can run on every tank in World War II pretty much. And then in terms of equipment, I run the Advanced Loader, the Gun Stabilizer, and Optics. Optics to be able to have that 448 meters of view range, because just like the Hydra IS-6, it is blind, and it will struggle to spot things at quite a few distances, because you're only just hitting that spotting cap at 445, which means you're not really devaluing people's camo, so you are going to struggle to spot people in this vehicle at times, and you will get out-spotted a lot, which can be a bit frustrating. The Advanced Loader to make the best out of the DPM, and the Gun Stabilizer to make the accuracy during rotation and movement as low as possible, so that the aim circle doesn't bloom out, so we can just keep snapping the shots with this gun, which is very, very nice. Great penetration on the standard and premium rounds, and it's just a generally very, very nice gun to use, just like it is on the KV-4. So let's have a look at the statistics now of, well, let's have a look at the modules first. Modules, that's the engine bays. Again, 15% internal fire chance. The fuel tanks go on this tank all the time, and it gets set on fire a lot. Generally, I haven't had many engine fires, but what I have had is the fuel tank fires, where you'll take a shot, it'll instantly damage your fuel tanks, and then the very next shot blows those fuel tanks, and it sets you on fire. So be careful of that with the Minotaur, and if your fuel tanks get damaged, immediately repair it, because you will set on fire. The ammo racks are in the back of the turret for the KV-5 and in the lower section below the turret of the hull. They're in this KV-5 as well, so if you want to damage the ammo rack, that's somewhere to aim. And that's where the crew sits in the old KV-5 as well. So now let's look at the statistics of the Minotaur KV-5. And as you can see, you've got a 40 km/h top speed, a 14 km/h reverse speed, 1200 horsepower engine, but you have 11.93 horsepower per ton ratio because you are a very heavy tank. This tank could be quite good at ramming if you're going downhill, but you will struggle up to 40 kilometers an hour. It is a bit slow and sluggish. You've got that 1780 hit points though, which is a very good slab of hit points to use. 18 degrees a second on the hull rotation is absolutely tragic, which is why I say quite possibly you might want to run clutch braking, and it might be something to do is to run clutch braking instead of snapshot or something like that, because yeah, that hull rotation at 18 degrees a second is so bad. You've got 2.63 on soft, 1.47 on medium, and 1.16 on firm, which is, yeah, the ground resistances on this tank aren't good, and they, again, with the poor power to weight ratio, means this tank is very, very sluggish. 448 meters of view range, again, is not great, and just like the Hydra IS-6, you'll struggle to spot things. 24.33 degrees a second, the turret rotation speed, again, isn't great, but we've helped it out to get to that level, meaning that it can be meh. It's meh, right, that's what that is. You've got 0.84 accuracy during rotation, with a 1.76 accuracy during movement, which is actually pretty nice, with a 2.12 second aim time. The aim circle does bloom out a little bit, but generally it aims in fairly quickly as well, which is why I say maybe drop the snapshot and run clutch braking instead to just get that little bit extra out of the track traverse. You've got 7 degrees of gun depression, which is okay. It's not great, it's not bad. You are a very tall tank, so it can struggle at times on the ridgelines to be able to get that gun depression, but it's not absolutely atrocious. You've got 0.28 accuracy at 100 meters, which is pretty accurate for this 107mm gun, with an 8.17 second reload, which is 2.3k DPM, which is, again, it's not great. To be fair, might be nicer to have it be a little bit better for this Minotaur KV-5, especially when you get trashed by a lot of things in terms of your armor. You've got 227mm of penetration on the standard AP, with 289 penetration on the premium APCR, 62mm of penetration on the HE rounds. Now, the pen on the standard AP and penetration on the premium is pretty damn nice, and especially when you load the premium, this gun feels amazing, because you've got 320 alpha, but you've got 1,043 meters a second shell velocity on the standard AP rounds, which is above average, which is nice, but the premium velocity is 1,304 meters a second shell velocity, which is delightful, makes this gun feel super duper accurate, and means you don't actually have to give much lead at all at range, and it's just a generally very, very nice round to fire on this gun, and it really does make a world of difference on how this gun feels. And then you've got a 75% silver bonus on the Minotaur KV-5 again, which means that you make a hell of a lot of silver for this tank, and it does make a lot of silver, which is pretty nice for the old KV-5. But yeah, that's the Minotaur. I mean, I'll show you the quick armor layout so you can have a look at it compared to your standard KV-5 if you have that. As I can say, it's got 200 on the droid. It is much thicker than the standard KV-5. And on that turret face, it is 240mm while it is sloped back. So as soon as you've got the people that are starting to fire 260, 270 pen, which there's quite a few at tier 9 and 10, they do start to go through that front pretty easily. If they hit the gun mantlet, they actually probably will bounce as well, because the angling is quite extreme. There is quite a chance that they will bounce on that, especially with the armor behind it. But yeah, it's quite awkward. The strength of this vehicle is side scraping though, as you have 150mm of side armor, and if you can side scrape with this vehicle while covering the droids, bounce the shot off the side, and then poke out and shoot, that can be a very, very valid tactic for this vehicle. The big pain trying to do that though is that a lot of times these days, if you're side scraping, people just yell around a corner, take a hit from you, and then pump a shot into your side, and you get penned anyway. The other thing is that the rear is actually quite strong, so that's 90mm of thickness on the upper section, but the lower section is actually 140mm, and it's because it's quite well rounded, it can bounce quite a bit, so you can actually bait shots at times with your back end and just angle sort of like this, and people will get confused and ricochet. It's quite funny to watch when people do it. They do the same with the KV-5 as well. But yeah, without further ado, what I'm going to do is send you into the replays where you can watch this Minotaur KV-5 in action, see how it handles, and just see if it's a bit of you or not. Like I say, I'm not a big fan of it, but, you know, we'll let you see how it goes. So as always, everybody, I will see you in the replays. So here we are in the replays with the Minotaur KV-5, and this first game is a Tier 9 game on Nom. And on Nom, what I'm going to do is go to the positions around CD4, because from there, I can try and spot out the people that sit along the 1 line, which should give my people that camp back at A45 a good, easy shot, like my tank destroyers. Although we've only got 3 of those. But anyone that goes and sits back there should have some nice, easy shots. And it'll also spot the people that will be trying to farm those guys as they get lit up by other tanks. And it'll give me some nice shots as well, because I can take cover on the rocks quite easily and just disrupt the enemy defensive flank. Now, with the Minotaur KV-5, we do have a 40 km an hour top speed, but as you can see, it is a little bit slow and sluggish, as we are going about 27, although there is a slight incline here. As soon as you go downhill, that's where you do hit that 40 km an hour, but yeah, you do struggle to maintain it. But because we've got that 7 degrees of gun depression, we should be able to use the ridgelines that little bit easier than something like the Hydra IS-6, because 1 degree of gun depression does make a large difference. But the problem with the Minotaur is, as you've already seen with it, it is a rather large tank. Which means that, yeah, it does need that extra little bit of gun depression to be able to hit the targets when you're looking over the ridgeline. So we managed to get a shot in for 367 into that Bulldog as we came in on the move. That's the gun handling in general. The gun handling on this KV-4/KV-5 gun in the 107mm Zis gun is very, very nice. It is just a generally pretty damn solid gun. So we are now here on the ridgeline. I'm thinking about possibly going into the next dip of this little section so that I can try and spot the campers over at DE1. I can't see a shot into the BZ-166, but there's the VK-4502A. We get a shot towards the 4502A side of his turret, but it bounces. The Senshi STA-2 is on top of the ridgeline, so we put a shot into him. Bulldog's going down to go chase out this Tiger Shark, same as the STA-2. And there's not much I can do about that unless I try and go after them. But I would be putting myself in a really precarious place if I did go after them. So we see the E75. We put a shot from this gun straight into the lower plate of the E75, which was pretty flat at that point. He's looking for shots at us, so we put a shot into his side, damaging his ammo rack. And then pull back behind the rock, which keeps us safe. The Bulldog hits us on the move, but bounces because he is going to struggle to pen us. We poke over, put a shot into the side of the E75, who misses, and then he pulls back. It was always nice to get shots into that guy if we can, because he won't struggle to pen me too badly, and he will also hit me pretty hard if I let him. Bulldog's looking at possibly coming over, so we just keep our eye on it. And now I'm thinking of making the cross. I'm making the cross down into the dip to see if I can find that STA-2 and get rid of him. I do have to be careful of that E75 though, who will be thinking about the shot. But luckily for me, he gets tracked in a position where he can't quite find the shot into me. The STA-2 hasn't been spotted down here, so I'm thinking, okay, is that STA-2 gone? He must have gone, right? There's no way. And you can see how slow this tank turns. We have shots into the side of the VK-7501K, which is what we're going for. And then we end up having a bit of awkward gun depression issues there as we go a little bit too far up on top of the ridgeline. And there's the Senshi. So we had to go take shots, essentially, to take an awkward shot into the VK-7501K. But we do get another shot into the 7501K, looking for the shot possibly into that engine deck, going for the overmatch. But, well, actually, I don't think I can overmatch it with this, but it was red, so I thought, hey, you know what, let's try it. The Senshi STA-2's come down, so instead of turning my frontal armor towards him, I'm just going to give him a butt. And this is what I'm talking about with this tank. Because the armor is not great on the butt, but it's also a pain for the front, you can just try and wiggle the rear, and you might get the occasional butt bounce. But sadly for me, he just went lol and penned us anyway. VK-4502A's come after us, and again, we're just going to do it again. Instead of giving them our front, we're going to give them our rear, and then just give them some very awkward angles, which will make our armour fairly thick and make it difficult for him to be able to pen us. So we put a shot through the stock VK-4502A's turret, because it is stock. He's got the 88mm gun, and he's got that stock turret. So we're just going to keep going for that cupola on top. But in fact, he gives us his lower plate. So we put the shot through his lower plate there. Gonna wait for our reload, try and side scrape it off of this rock so that he only really has our turret to shoot. Put the shot through the side of him there, damaging his rack. I was really hoping to track and pen the VK there, so it kept him pinned. But then he drives straight back out in front of our gun. But the shot goes high and we miss. He drives back out in front of us and gets shut down by the Orochi. We're up to 3.9k damage. It's currently 13.9, which means we're starting to lose quite a lot of tanks now. We've blocked 2.5k damage. We've got 972 assistance, and we're just going to try and pull up on top of the ridge line and see if we can get some more shots into people like this BZ and see if that VK is still there. And in fact, that VK is still there. So we put a shot into the side of the VK, putting him onto 325 hit points. We could have put him onto a one-shot if he'd rolled nicely, but we didn't. Look for the shot into that lower plate, and this time we do end up finishing him off. We take a hit from something over there, though, that we couldn't see as it fired at us. It puts us down to 523 hit points. And we're going to try and see if we can get a shot into this M41 Walker Bulldog. But we can't quite find that, and we hear a shot land behind us. And I'm starting to think, is there something that can shoot me from behind? And in fact, there is. There's a Conqueror. We get lucky that that Conqueror bounces off the back of our turret. And we are now in a very awkward situation. The Panzerjäger's in front of us, so we put a shot into the Panzerjäger's turret. And at this point, I'm looking at this game going, oh boy, this isn't good. There's a Waffle Panzer IV. He can finish off us in one shot. So we try and chance it. Get very unlucky there as the shot goes between the turret and the hull of the Waffle Panzer IV. Panzerjäger's coming after us. He bounces his heat round. We finish him off. And at this point, we take a hit from the Conqueror. We are so screwed. So you know what? We're going to take the chance, try and get a shot into the Waffle Panzer IV. And the 112 finishes us off with a shot into the back of the turret. We ended up blocking 4.1k damage, getting 5.1k damage ourselves. And yeah, we ended up getting a good amount of silver, the second class, with that 1190 base XP for 5.1k damage with the 3 kills in a tier 9 game on that match, which was nominally nom. Sad times for us, but it is what it is. That happens. And we're on to the second replay. In the second replay, we're in a tier 10 game here on Airfield. And on Airfield, what I'm going to try and do, because we're in a Minotaur, we're not the most mobile in the universe, and the amount of people that go towards that cap area on encounter on Airfield for some reason is lacking these days. So I thought, you know what? I'm just going to go up on top of the little hill here and see if I can poke some shots out and get some blocks off of our turret and just try and keep pumping the damage out. Because I've done that quite effectively in other tanks before, and I thought, well, the KV-5 is decently well armoured. We've got a good gun. Maybe we'll be able to do it. The problem with the KV-5 is we are quite blind, which means that trying to see some of those vehicles is actually very difficult, especially when they're back there. So we end up taking a large plonk. We took a large plonk in the side there, as we lost, what, a good 800 plus hit points. So there's something rather large back there, and being 1 TD, it was probably the E4 that hit us, and he just laughed at our armour, sadly, and yeah, we're down near half health, which, sad times for us. But what we're going to do now is poke over, see if we can get some shots at this BZ-176, put the shot towards his lower plate, and it ricochets. Sad times for KV-5 there. Would have been nice if we'd hit that and penned it, but hey-ho. Just looking to see if we can find any other shots across that open area. But we actually get lucky as we ricochet the shot from the E4, which was firing a premium round, which is extremely high pen, and will laugh at us. So we're just looking for another shot into that E4, hoping he might overexpose his side. We put a shot in that only tracks him. We get 77 tracking assist. Good times. So that means we do get a shot into the side of the E4, but yeah, we don't actually pen it. We only tracked it. If we'd fired Prem there, we might have actually penned it, but hey-ho. So we're going to poke over and see if we can find that E4, because with the E4 poking out a minute ago, I thought, well, that means if he's going to poke out to try and shoot us, I should be able to spot him if I do that. So we're just playing a very, very awkward game here with an E4, which is not really advisable. And we're just getting detected every time we poke out. And there's the shot from the E4 straight through the front of the turret. And we're down to 190 hit points. And at this point, I think, okay, you know what? This position is just not working. It's not doing very well. Let's go for the cap. Let's go towards the cap and see what we can do over there. Because we're doing nothing here, we're just wasting our time, and we've had a bad game so far. The heavy tanks that got spotted over there, I'm expecting there to be an IS-4, so I think, you know what, screw it. we're going to go and save this game if we can. This game has been dreadful so far. Let's see if we can save it, make the most of it, because we never give up if we can help it. So we'll load the premium so we can guarantee that we're going to get the penetrations. 289 pen and the velocity is a thing of beauty, and we're not going to really struggle with stuff like 705As and the IS-4s and stuff with that kind of penetration. So that's what we're going for. So we're going to go up through this middle area, up the 6 line, so we can try and shoot the side of the heavies at D6. We do have to be careful from people that might be sitting at D2, though, pressuring those guys. And with the T62A firing towards their spawn area, it was kind of like, oh, is there something there? And yes, there's a BZ-176 and actually a T62A that could see this way as well. So I can't turn very quickly, so I've got to really awkwardly adjust to try and get around this T62A. He shuts down their T62A, though, which is great. The Progetto 54 is coming around. At this point, I'm thinking I'm probably going to die, but I'm going to try and put a shot into his side and then angle weirdly for him. So, unfortunately, we hit the floor, but we do see the M41 90mm. So we put a shot through the M41 90mm there, putting it onto 669, giggity, as we get the shot into him. And you can see the shell velocity on this 107mm gun. When you start firing it, you really feel a massive difference. That extra 300 meters a second shell velocity really makes a massive difference in how a gun feels. And it's going to make a world difference in how our gun feels like it performs as well. So the Progetto 54 is giving us his turret, so we're just trying to get the snapshots into the cupola on top of his turret if we can. And at this point I'm thinking, oh dear, I'm boned. But he tried to track and pen us there. And at this angle, it is going to be very awkward. He just needs to hit our droid. If he hits the droid, he's going to pen us. But if we're keeping rocking backwards and forwards, it makes it very, very difficult for him to guarantee the shot on that droid. If you sit still, you're just going to die. It is what it is, because it makes it very easy for them to find the weak spot for them to pen them. Whereas if you just keep moving, you will just make sure that your armor is so much better than it is when stationary. So unfortunately we missed a shot on the Progetto 54 there, but the IS-4 drives out with his back end to us. We finish off the IS-4, and the Progetto 54 is coming after us. And again, I'm thinking, oh, I'm so dead. But thankfully, he bounces. So we pull back, get a shot into his side. He ricochets off our side. Again, you can over-angle the side of this vehicle very, very easily and bait people into shooting that, and they will. Put another shot into the side of the Progetto 54, put him down to a 1 shot. We're up to 2.1k damage with 97 assistance. If we can get rid of the Progetto, that would be great. But we're currently detected. And I didn't know if that was something at the back that was looking at me as well as the Progetto, but I wasn't sure. We see the Conqueror in the distance. We get detected. I'm okay. Don't do it. I'm figuring it must be the medium tank at B4. So we pull into a better position, pull around the corner, and see if this Conqueror is going to give me a shot into his rear. Because if he pulls back enough, I should be able to get a cheeky shot into him. And again, help my team that is over there. So we put a shot into the back of the Conqueror. He starts to look straight towards us as soon as we've done it. I'm not taking a shot from the Conqueror because he will kill me. And because of how good his gun is, he is going to snapshot me. But we pull back around the corner. We have the shot into his lower plate because he was distracted. But sadly, he gets finished off before we get the chance to kill him. Someone pings back at B5, which means there's a medium tank still over there. We get detected immediately, and I'm thinking, oh, okay. Can they see me around that corner? Is there something at D2? Not 100% sure at this point, so I'm just being as careful as possible, waiting to see slowly but surely where I get spotted. And there we go. We get spotted as we go around the corner, and it's the 705A. We snap the shot, ricochet off his upper plate, but thankfully for me, he also misses us. And now we've got the reload in, we're going to go for that shot into the side. 289 pen is going to go through that. If we were firing standard, 227 pen. We're not penning the 705A there. We're fortunate we had that premium round in for that. But the 705A is currently closing the distance. We can't see a shot into the back chat. We chance it, go for the shot into the side of the 705A there. Really nice shot there into him, and he missed. Back chat in the distance again. That's where the extra 300 meters a second shell velocity on that APCR is a godsend, as we managed to get the shot into the back chat. They've only got 3 tanks left, so we just need to keep whittling this 705A down if we can before he gets close enough to us. So we put a shot into his lower plate with our APCR round, and this 705A is coming after us. The back chat is going after my friend, so if I can get a shot in to help out our friend, we put him down to a 1 shot for the Tiger Shark, and at that point I've confirmed my own death, because the 705A is definitely going to pen me here. But we've got to make sure we put a shot into him, putting him down to a 1 shot, which we do. We tracked and penned him in the open. I was really hoping that possibly my heavy tank might get the shot in to finish him off. Because he's fired at us, the Tiger Shark ends up shooting him in the side, and the Hydra ends up finishing him off. And finished with the victory, 1 kill, 4.4k damage, 2.5k blocked, good amount of the silver, 127 for same with 5 mostly premium in the end, with the first class and 1923 base XP. A fantastic game for the Minotaur in that game for saying how badly that started off, and especially in a tier 10 game, which means it is fully capable in a tier 10 game. It's just a super frustrating tank to play for me, the Minotaur. It's just one of those that you go, oh, I just wish I was playing the standard KV-5 with preferential matchmaking. So as always, everybody, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.
A great success!